And joining me now to speak about this is a legal practitioner, Justice Ojeno. He joins me in the studio. Good to have you join us.
It's great to be here.
So from the look of things, it does seem like this case just became really interesting, especially when you look at the fact that while Abba Kyari and about 4 others pleaded not guilty, the 6th and 7th defendant pleaded guilty. And then there was, I understand that there was, but let me get your thought on that before we get to what played out in court. What does that mean for this case?
Okay, it's well within their rights to plead whatever it is they want to plead, whether or not they have actually done something. This is what I usually say in matters like this. It is not the truth that prevails in court, it is evidence that prevails in court. So if a particular defendant is sure that the prosecution will not be able to prove his own guilt beyond reasonable doubt with the evidence on ground, then he is free to actually plead not guilty. At the end of the day, he will actually go free. But a person who knows that with the evidence that is already in the possession of the prosecution, that he is probably going to go guilty, those ones will plead guilty. And once those ones are plead guilty, the difference is that the ones that make it hard for the courts to get them to before they are convicted, those ones will have tougher times when it comes to sentencing, while the ones that plead guilty from the inception and thereby saving the time of the court will have a lighter sentence comparatively.
All right, so let's also talk about this because I understand, because we spoke to our correspondent earlier, she said this generated controversy. The fact that the 6th and 7th defendant pleaded guilty, and then there was controversy over whether their case, the facts of their case should be reviewed and then sentenced. But some lawyers were for it, but some said, look, this is already like, I think she called it something prejudicial to the case of Abba Kyari. They didn't plead guilty. What do you think could be done in this situation?
Okay, in this situation, they can actually separate the charges so that it doesn't prejudice the other parties, the ones that didn't plead guilty, so that they will be tried separately. So that
who should be tried first in this case now that 2 of them have pleaded guilty?
They can be tried simultaneously. They can be tried simultaneously. So it doesn't matter who is tried first or who is not tried first. And also, it can actually also be in front of different judges, especially because it has been presented before this judge. And it is possible that in court there can be likelihood of bias. The judge has already can tilt a certain way or another way. So it can be presented before 2 different judges who will be able to see it differently and independently. All
right. Just so much to watch out for. There is also the case of the extradition also going on. We understand that the federal government through the AGF has filed for extradition in court. Can these 2 cases go side by side? Which of them do you think will be decided first?
I don't think it should actually go side by side, because if it goes side by side, technically is flouting the extradition law, because there will be serious issues with the extradition proceedings that are ongoing. Because one of the conditions, especially pursuant to Section 3(6) of the Extradition Act, is that there should not be any pending charge before any court. So that is when the extradition can be said to actually be legitimate or be likely to succeed. So if that is not the case, if this prosecution is still going on, it will be detrimental to the other one. The other one will not succeed, because the Attorney General has already given his go-ahead rightfully, which is before this matter was instituted. Because if it had been proposed still after this matter instituted, there would actually have been a theater of the absurd kind of situation. So now that the Attorney General has given his go-ahead, the court will most likely stop, because if the court also gives its go-ahead, then it will be indeed a theater of the absurd.
So it's interesting, really an interesting case to watch out for. Thank you so much for talking to us, legal practitioner Justice Ojeno.
It's a pleasure.